Hey guys, welcome back to my video. It's your girl Mary from Japan, and thank you for checking out another of my videos. Recently I started talking about how I want to level up with you guys and how I really want to have this channel to be about, you know, becoming better together. In the mission statement video, which I'll link down below, if you haven't checked that one out yet, check it out. And I think one major hindrance or one major obstacle for people who do want to level up but they don't really know why they don't or why they're not taking action is because they feel imposter syndrome. And you probably have heard of this, but in case you haven't, I have the definition here. You know, I'm always prepared. Imposter syndrome is the feeling of severe inadequacy and self-doubt that can leave people feeling that they will be exposed as a fraud, usually in their work life. And then this next line is like really major killer. It can affect anyone regardless of their success. So, you know, that definition says it all. Like, even the most successful people have felt imposter syndrome, regardless if you're like the top CEO of a, you know, of your startup company, or if you're like the best marketing manager in a major like 10,000 people company, or if you're a great creative actress or something like that. You can still feel imposter syndrome, and I feel it all the time. especially when I started working 2 years ago. I was like, oh shoot, I feel imposter syndrome. Like, I don't feel like I belong. Oh my gosh, like, what is this? So I really just want to kind of focus on that today, and how we can kind of combat imposter syndrome and why it's okay to feel like it, but then, you know, you just have to find a way to push against it so that you can do better for yourself. I know sales managers, marketing managers, Ivy League graduates who have felt imposter syndrome, or who even still feel it to this day. So it's completely normal to have that feeling. So don't believe that that's something that you shouldn't be feeling, or that, you know, if you feel like that, then that means you're not good enough. No, I would actually say because you feel like that, that means that you do care and you do think about it. And especially myself, as I mentioned earlier, I felt imposter syndrome from the first day well, not the first day, but the first month I started my very first job 2 years ago in the recruitment agency, because everybody was so professional. And the thing with imposter syndrome is it's especially prevalent in millennials, and on top of millennials, it's especially prevalent in women. And I think the reason why it's so common for women to feel it is because, you know, as we grew up, if you think about it, as we grew up and you look around and like social media, or, you know, everyday media, who were the people that were usually in charge? Who were the people that were usually in power? How did they look like? What sex were they? Were they women? Were they men? Yes. So probably 98% of the time, the figures in power in our everyday media as we were growing up were usually male. And that's not saying that, you know, guys shouldn't deserve the power, shouldn't be in power, but that's just the situation we were in. So we naturally grew up thinking like, okay, guys are usually in power, so women, you know, we could be the secretary, we can be the great assistant and things like that. So I'm not surprised at all that, you know, now that we are millennials and we grew up and we entered the workforce, or we've been in the workforce for like 5 years or 10 years or so, we still feel like, oh, we don't belong, because we didn't have role models, we didn't have figures that look like ourselves in our everyday lives to represent us and see that. So of course we will have imposter syndrome. So like I was saying, I felt imposter syndrome when I was first working, and the common thoughts that you'll have when you feel imposter syndrome is like, oh, I don't belong here, like, oh, everybody else is so much better than me, like, oh, I'm not as professional as other people. Especially for me, I'm a very, you know, you can just tell the type of person I am. Very go-lucky, very happy, very like positive. And that's not a bad trait to have. That's actually a really good trait to have. But when you're in a very professional setting, like, you know, in a typical business setting, everybody's more, their demeanor is more calm, the way they talk is like so nice, the way they walk is so nice. Here I am like skipping along skipping along in the courtroom like literally. So of course I had imposter syndrome, and even in my new job I still sometimes I'm like, damn, everybody's so good. And how did I combat that? Truthfully, I did not like fully eradicate my imposter syndrome, but I have thought of maybe a couple ways that together we can try to combat it, and I wanted to share that with you. So I have about 4 ways, and let's see how, yeah, I have about 4 strategies or 4 ways that we can try to combat imposter syndrome. So firstly, I think one good way to combat imposter syndrome is to show gratitude daily. And when I say show gratitude, that could be both internally or it could be externally. So you know, you can think about just being thankful for the job you have, just being appreciative for the opportunity you're given to work in that place. Many people don't have that chance to even be working at where you do work. Many people don't even have the chance to try to work where you work. So by showing gratitude and showing appreciation for the opportunity you do have, I think you have more, you feel better about being there. You know, you know that, you know, you're by being grateful for what you have, I think you feel better by being there. Because there's other people, trust me, there are other people that are like, oh, of course I got this job, why wouldn't I get this job, and things like that. But they're not being appreciative, and you know, power to them for feeling so cocky and things like that. But at the end of the day, those type of people are not the ones that, you know, will really last maybe in a job. Whereas you who are showing gratitude and showing appreciation, you're gonna put in just that much effort because you know that, you know, it may not have to have been you to be working there. So by having that appreciative heart and appreciative attitude, I think you naturally will want to work harder to show that you do deserve that position or that job or that opportunity or that gig. My next recommendation in terms of how to kind of combat imposter syndrome is when you have your negative thoughts, what do you usually do? Do you just let them play out? Oh, you suck. Oh, you don't deserve that. Oh, that person's better than you. Do you just let that be your thoughts for the whole day? Or what do you try to say back to it? What I would say back to them is usually I would try to say good things about myself. I would try to say like, oh, Mary, you know, you are a funny person. Well, Mary, you know, you are a really positive person. You bring a positive light to this workplace. You bring a positive attitude to the team, and people appreciate that. It may be hard to think of positive thoughts on the spot when you're, you know, having a train of negative thoughts. So I would recommend to actually sit down and write, you know, at least 5 to 10 strengths that you have or positive attributes that you have that you really like about yourself. And bonus is actually to get somebody else to tell you what are your positive traits, what are your positive attitudes, what do they like about you, what are your strengths and things like that. Because if, of course, saying it yourself could be hard sometimes because you don't remember, or you don't really know how to dig deep and think of like maybe 5 positive traits. But if you ask other people, surprisingly, they can tell you a lot of things that you wouldn't have even thought about. So list down minimum 5 positive attributes or traits about yourself that you can use to combat any negative thoughts you do have when you get into that, you know, more negative funk. My third recommendation would actually be to consider therapy. Nowadays, a lot of companies offer either therapy sessions or like, I wouldn't maybe not call it therapy sessions, but maybe counseling sessions or one-on-one sessions with at a discounted price to therapy sessions or people who you can talk to. And this can be really good because if you're feeling imposter syndrome, it could be caused from other more negative emotions or in negative situations that you've been in or you're currently in or you see yourself maybe going into. But if you can have somebody to talk to, a trusted professional who can have an unbiased view and they can give you feedback or they can give you suggestions or ideas or just talk it out with you, that could be really beneficial. I'm so thankful that in this day and age, mental health is something that's really important, and more people are realizing that, and the stigma for it is going way down. So don't feel embarrassed if you have to reach out to a therapy or reach out to a therapist or reach out to somebody who you can just talk to on that kind of note, because a lot of people are doing it, and even I want to do it. I want to go and find a therapist. If I could find one in Japan, I want to find somebody as well that like I could just talk to. And I know my company actually has a program, so I think I'm gonna be checking it out just to have that person to talk to, because you don't necessarily have to have a deep issue to be able to talk to a therapist. It's the same way I think of therapy, the same way I think of exercise. You exercise because you want to maintain your health, right? So why wouldn't you want to maintain your mental health? Finally, my main last suggestion is to upskill yourself. Usually imposter syndrome, you feel it because you feel that whatever kind of situation you're in, you're not good enough for it. You don't have enough skills for it. You're not comparable to the other people around you. So why don't you actually take action and upskill yourself? Whether if it's in creative writing and you want to become a better writer, maybe take some creative writing courses, or maybe challenge yourself to write 100 articles in 6 months time, and then that will just really give you that practice. Or maybe you are a accountant and you see yourself making small mistakes really regularly, and you feel bad about it because your boss is like saying, why do you keep making these mistakes? And then you get that imposter syndrome. How can you do better? Maybe go online and redo some basic accounting courses. There's nothing wrong with relearn the basics, because by relearn the basics you can actually get better and improve yourself overall at a higher level, and then you can slowly move up in terms of, okay, what new skills will you have to learn. You don't always need to be trying to learn the highest, latest new thing. Sometimes just learn the basics again, reviewing it, seeing it is really what you need and what could really help you do better. So upskill yourself in whatever areas you need to do, and that will hopefully help you to feel that your day-to-day work is actually good, and you know that you're taking actionable steps to improve on whatever work you're trying to output. Okay, combating imposter syndrome is so important because it is one of the main factors that limits you from leveling up yourself. It can stop you from volunteering for that awesome project that you really want to try out for. It can stop you from raising your hand in that meeting to say something important that you should say, but you're too scared to say it. It can stop you from putting yourself up for a promotion or negotiating a higher pay salary even though you deserve it, but you feel that you don't really deserve it. So if we can combat imposter syndrome, I really think that we can level up together and have just a better life. So thank you for watching another one of my videos. As always, if you like this, please hit the like button or smash it if that's your preference. Leave a comment below if this video really helped you, or if you faced imposter syndrome in your day-to-day work as well. I'd love to hear how people combat it and what people do to do better. And finally, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and share as is possible, because we really need to get this word out that imposter syndrome is very common, but there is ways to combat it. So it's your girl Mary from Japan. See you soon. Bye.